Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to take another very important example for reactive forms where we will see how to create a basic form group example with some default values. In project, there might be some requirement where we are supposed to create a form where we are utilizing both form control and form group along with some input fields. Right? So in that situation, how you will set the default value? Is there any changes in the default value, or we will process the same way we did with form control? So these all questions we will be answering by the end of this session. But before we proceed further with the session, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released sessions first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic. Because for time being, we are just mainly focusing on how to create a basic example of form group with some default value. Okay, and for the detailed content, you can also refer the Sharmit digital course book, which is freely available in the description box. There you will find more than 3000 plus free resources, which we can utilize in both Hindi and English languages. So as per your convenience, you can go through it. Okay. Alright, so let's get started. Here you can see currently I'm in app.component.html file. So here I have mentioned two headings. One is the Angular course by Sharmit, and the second one is reactive form in Angular, basic form group, text input with default values. Okay, and then we have two horizontal rows that will help us to separate out the form with the actual headings. Okay, now before we define the prerequisite thing, let's try to understand the main process, that is the requirement, right? Because firstly we should know what is the requirement, what we are going to build, right? Once it is clear what we are going to build, then you are good to go ahead and write the further logic, right? So to understand the requirement, we will do one just thing, let me explain in a very simple way. Suppose we have one form, there we have two input fields. We are receiving the input from two users. We are receiving the data from two input fields. One is name and another one is email. And I want to make sure that whenever user load the application or form, at that time they should be able to see some default value in it. Name maybe ABCD or email maybe abcd@gmail.com. So this is exactly the requirement. Now how we will achieve it with the help of form group and form control, let's see. So for that we will go to app.component.ts file. Here in imports we will write the reactive forms module. Okay, so reactive form module is added over here. Now after this we will expand this class, and inside this we will define the all variables and all the stuff. Okay, so I want to define my variable as a name user data, so I will simply write here user data, then equal, then we will write here new form group. Okay, then opening closing parenthesis, and you can see when I press enter on user form group, it automatically added here. So that is very important. Okay, whatever thing we are using here, it should be properly imported. Now after this we will simply expand the class with some curly braces, and in this, with this curly braces, you can mention the required stuff. Okay, so like we will define the input fields and all. So firstly I'll write here name, because I want to store the name, and inside this we will write new form control. Okay, and in new form control we will mention keep it blank for now, so that I can show you the effect of this default value. Okay, because I'm sure some of you might not have watched the previous session, so for them I'm just giving you the a quick review. Okay, then we will define here email, and in case of email also I'll specify new form control, opening closing comma, and just terminate this with a semicolon. Perfect. So this thing is ready. Now I will write the logic for the button. So let's say there is a form button and we want to submit the form to send the data to the console. So in that case I will create one button method here, actually the method, and let's give it as a name submit. Then opening closing parenthesis, curly braces. Inside this I will write console.log, and here I will mention the console message, that is maybe we can simply directly use the values. Okay, this dot values, something like that. So maybe we are at this dot user data dot value. So this thing we can show here. Perfect. So this thing is ready, and just make sure that you edit the required semicolon to terminate the thing, and now we are good to go and write the logic. Remember, we haven't added anything like default value yet, right? And these are the email validator that previously we added. I think let's remove the unnecessary thing. Okay, so we have not set the default value, we have just designed the form. I'll set the default value, but before that let's see how it looks like. So now we will define the design the HTML logic here. So let's write form, and in this form we will define the all other required input fields and labels and also the buttons. So these all things we will define here. So for form group, firstly we will define the form group. Here I'll write form group and assign the name as user data, then a comma, then we will write here ng submit, and here I will write submit, and it's a method, so opening closing parenthesis. Then after this what we will do, we will add the input field, but before that let's add the label. Okay, in label I will write name. Now we will add the next thing, that is input, and in input field I will write type as text. Okay, then we will mention here form control name. That is very important. Okay, so remember this thing, that you have to use this form control name and assign the name which you defined in the component.ts file. Okay, fine. Now we will add the second label, and this label is for the email, so we will define it as email. Then input field, and then we will write here type as text, or maybe it's a email, so you can define as email. Then form control name, not control, it should be form control name, so rewrite it form control name and assign it with the email. Perfect. Till now we are good. Let's add one more input field, not input field, the button, so that we can submit it. So I'll just simply write here submit, and its type is submit itself. So I will write submit, not submit here. We will mention type submit. So we are ready with this method, and now you are good to run the application. So ng serve -- open, enter. Just wait for a few seconds, and then it will show you the output in the browser screen. Clear? So let's see how it looks like. Okay, so it is coming like this. We have one main heading that shows Angular course by Sharmit. Then we have secondary heading that tells reactive form in Angular, basic form group, text input with default value, one horizontal row, one label, one input field, and another label, another input field with submit. And also we have this horizontal row. So we have all the design thing, right? If you right click on inspect and go to console, and if you try to insert some data, it will work positively. So you can see abc at gmail.com. So it is working as expected. The moment when you submit it, it will accept the data where we have name and email. Perfect. This is perfect. But was it the requirement? No, it was not the requirement for our this session, at least, because we want that whenever user load the data, it should come up with some default value. So to set that default value, what we will do, we will simply go here in parenthesis, just put single quote and just write your test data. So let's say test is my name, and test at email is my test at gmail is my Gmail address. Okay, so now you can see the moment when I refresh my form, it comes with the default data, and this is exactly what we were looking from this example. So now we have test as name, and email as test@gmail.com. And the good thing about this default value, if user want to submit the default, like if user wants to go with default value, when we keep the default value, when we are sure that mostly we are going to log in with the same thing, right? So in that case, user can submit and it will accept the data. Okay, but let's say if user want to change for some reason, let's say test 1 2 3 he wants to do, and here also test, there are multiple user test 1 2 3, so we will just provide test, and as per the user they will just change it and submit it, so accordingly it will show the data. Clear? So yeah, that's all for today. I hope this session is clear to all of you. In the next session we will discuss few more things. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.